Good afternoon and good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. And we are doing Canadian Wednesday on Thursday today. So that's happening. And
Right, that's my fault. I'm sorry. Sorry to BP. Sorry to the audience. Was feeling a little bit under the weather. And as BP and I were just saying, my cat will not shut up. So as soon as I think I'm drifting off to La La Land, meow, meow. So that's all my fault. But we're here.
we
We're
are here.
Canadian. Get used to
And
it.
it was actually kind of good because I was able to get stuff a little bit cleaned up because yesterday was the youngest's birthday. So we had a bit of we had cake and
Happy birthday,
yeah,
Logan.
exactly.
Logan, it's your
It's your
birthday.
birthday. That was in my head too.
Yeah.
So he had fun. We got him a cake and he got an Avengers bike and
Cool.
now he can't wait to ride it, but it's all rainy and gross, so that kind of sucks because you can't really ride your bike out there when it's all
And you don't want to be riding a brand new bike that needs to be broken in when it's wet out
wet
because
out.
that'll
Yeah.
affect the chain and the
Yep.
gears and the spokes. Yeah.
So, unfortunately, he can't ride his bike just yet, but he's all excited. He's been sitting on it inside, and yeah, it's.
I remember doing that as a kid.
So that was fun, and now we're here talking about all the. There's a lot of craziness going on in Canada. I even have a
Oh
story
boy.
of because there's a internet censorship bill in the
Mm-hmm.
House of Commons that's trying to get passed. Um, so we'll take a look at that, and we'll take a look at a teacher in Ontario who filmed a student with a spy pen, which is kind of creepy.
Wait, the teeth. Oh Jesus.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy bullshit.
Now I brought it up to before we get started with Canadian stuff. I wanted to bring up with you because you have been intimately familiar with the matter. We had the whole Molly Burke,
Ugh.
Susan Wojcicki thing,
Ugh.
and
Yeah.
that just absolutely disgusted me because I'll admit what I know about Molly, I've only heard from you,
Yeah.
and what I've heard, I don't like. She's
Yeah.
not a very good person. She's not an honest actor. So that was kind of a kick in the pants to be like, oh, we're gonna have this piece of shit give the award for freedom of speech to Susan Wojcicki, one of the biggest censors in modern history. And
And
that's
and
like Philip DeFranco giving himself the Peabody Award for
and news. Yeah.
news, or Dr. Fauci giving himself the Nobel Peace Prize. It's just so dumb.
Well, and do you think she would take the time do you think Molly would take the opportunity to address like some accessibility issues and whatever with Susan?
Oh hell
No.
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 She was sucking that woke jicky peen.
Oh yeah.
She was all on that thing. So, I just wanted to share with the lovely audience our disdain for both of those people.
Yes,
Because that was
exactly.
that was even the ratio, the last time I checked, it was like,
Oh, it's bad. Pinkala was like, I think he said it was like 124 likes to like 34,000 dislikes or something like that. It
yeah,
was
and
bad.
that's the last time I looked. I'm sure there's been a lot more dislikes now that the news has sort of permeated the infosphere and people have been awoken to what happened there. But I just wanted to bring that up real quick because yeah, you're familiar with Molly, and if anybody isn't familiar with Molly, check out some of BP's older stuff where she covers Molly, and it is amazing what this woman
Says.
says and does. Like it just, ugh.
And the fact that she's got a team of editors that watches those and goes, "Yes, let's leave that in." It's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, you need new editors." Um So yeah, that happened, and Bering did a very amusing video covering it. I suggest you
Yeah, and
look
now
at
that
it.
they've gone through I think it's been the first like 8 months or so since he had his demon spawn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's back into the grind of making videos, which have all been really good. He released another one today about people, high school students attacking one another for their not only ethnicity but for their religious beliefs and for their gender.
Oh,
Shocking.
fantastic! I'm shocked.
Yeah, and he always makes great content.
He
But it's not
does.
about
He
Australia
does.
today. Today's about Canada. The glorious People's Republic of Canada.
Mm-mm. We're getting there. We really are.
Yeah,
Um.
especially with that first topic. An internet kill switch.
Hmm?
Who thought that that was a good idea?
Yeah.
I'll tell you who. Hitler!
Right?
I'm just gonna fucking say it. That is the reason why these super communist, super fascistic governments wanted to burn books, limit people's information, keep them dumber, less informed on the world at large, history, different political ideas, so that you can more easily control people. And that is nothing short of what YouTube does, Twitter does, Facebook does on its own.
Yeah.
Like, what does Facebook know about my medical needs? But you go onto Facebook and it's just like COVID information, COVID information, COVID.
Right?
It's like, who the fuck are you to give me COVID information?
I know. It's like I don't want to go to Facebook for my COVID information. Thank you.
Or any health information. You are not a medical body, first of all. Second of all, you're not my medical practitioner.
No.
Because even our illustrious, like our version chat for our version of Dr. Fauci up here in Ontario is
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Teresa Tam. Same kind of deal, doesn't really practice anymore, and is completely and utterly failed shit the bed on, pardon my French, on the response to COVID and her recommendations to Premier Ford and the other governmental bodies. And they've completely mishandled it.
Oh,
You and I have
absolutely.
spoken about this before. Everybody involved, from the Premier on down to even local mayors like Mayor Tory, should be stepping down from their position. But of course, we know in today's age, government isn't about service to the people or
Nope.
serving your constituents. It's about garnering your political power and making connections so that when you leave office, you can make even more money.
Exactly.
Because you look at the average incomes across Ontario, they've nosedived under these lockdowns.
Oh yeah.
Businesses have shuttered, shut down, closed doors until they can reopen. But not only that, Ford's business himself
Oh
has
yeah.
increased
It's
profits fourfold.
oh it's ballooned. And then I have an article that we can read a little bit later where um he's very graciously given the three paid sick days.
Yeah.
That's all that people can apply for is 3 paid sick days
That
from
is
the province.
disgusting. And Elwin brings up a good point. Given who handles healthcare decisions, are you not surprised? Look at who handles ODSP. Not doctors, that's for sure.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, it's social workers. Social workers are deciding whether or not people are infirm or have disabilities or how severe their disabilities are and blah blah blah, making medical decisions for people basically. And these are just social workers, no medical training or degrees or anything.
Well, and then when you go to them and you say like you need help and you're in financial straits, then they tell you that they're not social workers
Yeah, right.
and it's not their job to help you with that.
Don't get me wrong, I think that programs like that are do immense good.
Yeah.
They are a quote unquote welfare type program that helps people who aren't able-bodied enough to just be on equal footing in the workforce, to the extremes of people who cannot work.
Yeah.
So they do some good. It's just they've become so corrupt and bloated with governmental bureaucracy. It's blech.
They
But
have it's the bureaucracy, and it's the unfortunate because everyone says, oh, it's so rare that there's ODSP fraud. No, it's not. It's not rare. I
no,
don't I
I've met a
don't
couple.
know I don't know why people insist that it's rare. It's fucking not. Like used to be friends with a person who lived in a house with four other people. They all collected ODSP checks, and they still somehow managed to need to use the food bank because they blew all their money on pot and video games. Like the first of the month was a bonanza for them. You know what I mean? It was like, and there was this one time he's not our friend anymore, but he smashed his Xbox because he got mad at his girlfriend. And all he said was, "Oh, it's okay. I'll just wait till next month when my ODSP check comes in, and I'll just get another Xbox."
Yeah, I
And I'm
know. I
just like,
unfortunately know people like
"Oh,
that.
fucking Jesus Christ!" And he's like, "I'm just too angry to work." That was his thing. I'm too angry to work.
Then you know what, Sonny Jim? You can go live on the streets.
Yep.
That's the point where I just don't have sympathy for people. Is when you abuse a system that actually people rely on to survive.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Not sorry. You need to go away.
Yep.
Yeah, like Elwin says, liquor stores are packed the first of the month.
Oh yeah. It's absolutely insane. It's like, meanwhile, here I come. Like my check comes in. What's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning? I email my landlord.
Yep.
Here's your money, landlord.
Landlord, bills, food.
Yeah, and then, oh look, no money.
Basically, especially with these rental rates.
Yeah.
And you would think, oh look, cost of homes and rental rates have dipped and blah blah. Yeah, they've dipped from all-time highs.
Yeah.
Like, even I was saying to Elwin the other day, because we're looking at options of moving. The same unit in the same building for me, I pay roughly just under $1,200, which is good for the time and location I'm in, because I've been here for several years. But the exact same unit in the same building is now $1,700.
So if you were to like rent as a new person,
yeah,
that's how much you'd be paying.
You're paying 50% more, close to, in rent. It is insane. And this is supposed to be after a 20% dip in the market? I don't believe it.
Yeah.
But Brian Lilly's got some words to say about Trudeau's internet censorship.
Yeah, he says it must be stopped, the internet censorship bill. Which, you know, I'm never for censorship. So, this says, if the idea of a government controlling what you can read online, what you can post online, and what videos you can view doesn't strike you as quite right, then you might be Canadian. I like that. Sadly, it's the government of Canada that's now putting forward legislation to give itself the type of power we normally associate with basic dictatorships like China. Yep.
China! Yeah.
And it's true. Like, and this is what Bill C-10, that's what Bill C-10 is. So Bill C-10, currently before the House of Commons, would give the government the power to regulate any content you generate and post online. Your video ranting on Twitter, dancing on TikTok, or pontificating on Facebook would be treated as a radio or television broadcast. Fuck you, Trudeau. I'm sorry. You're not gonna syndicate me and pay me for that shit, but you're gonna fucking treat me and put me under the same laws?
Well, you see, BP, he's got to give all that money to the CBC, so they constantly cover his stuff favorably. It's pay to play, basically. But yeah, you're not wrong, because do you see him pushing back on the whole tech censorship
No.
page? No, he's happy about it. He's happy that these companies have full authority to. I mean, if they wanted to, for no good reason, they could eat your channel or my channel or anybody's channel. They don't even have to give you a reason.
Hell, for all the Polyev content we play, they could be like, "Oh, you're dissent. You have a dissenting opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to go now."
Speaking ill against great Rita.
So it says previously, the legislation had an exemption for user generated content, but that was stripped out at the behest of the liberals last week. This is a remarkable and dangerous step in the already bad piece of legislation, writes Michael Geist. Geist is a law professor at the University of Ottawa and the Canada Research Chair in Internet and e-commerce. Sorry. Internet and e-commerce law. This means that he not only knows what he's talking about on this issue, but the federal government agrees funding his work and research.
Yeah, I've read some of his papers. He's really good too.
So they fund him, but they also want censorship and ugh. This is disgusting.
I mean, this is exactly what we've been talking about in the greater scheme of things. This guy is a law professor who specializes in this kind of stuff. And government officials are going against his recommendations, his views on the issue. They're just saying, we're not going to listen to the science or listen to the experts. We're just going to do whatever the fuck we want, because fuck you, that's why.
Yeah.
And people will still be like, oh my god, Trudeau-san! Notice me, senpai! It's like, he's so dumb, and he's been so bad for Canada.
Oh, it's
and just disgusting. Freedoms in general. Like, we should be getting some kind of like Razzie Award as a joke and saying, your government is fucked.
Yeah.
One of our biggest trading partners. Again, I can't not come back to this. He wouldn't even sit down at the negotiating table with Orange Man because bad.
Yeah.
Our biggest trading partner, somebody who we should be in lockstep, especially with something like COVID-19. We should be in lockstep to try to work towards making this less, making it not a pandemic anymore, and returning back to normalcy. But of course not. They're just using it as an excuse to garner more power, like you see in C10.
Oh, exactly. It's terrifying.
It really is. Because now not only can YouTube say, you know what, we don't like you, BP, we don't like you, Dr. Functional, we don't like you, whoever, we're going to shut you down. But now the Canadian government can say, you know what, I don't think we really need Toronto to know what's going on in the news today. We're going to just kill the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can assume we're just going to kill YouTube for the day.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Or, you don't need to see this particular political party's live debate or live convention or whatever. So we're just not going to show any channels that are broadcasting it.
Yeah, and we'll work in partnership with places like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to show you ads and positive coverage of the Liberal Party or the NDP or whoever, because fuck you, that's why.
Yeah. So it continues on to say his assessment of the bill is brutal but accurate. The government believes that it should regulate all user-generated content, leaving it to the regulator to determine on what terms and conditions will be attached the videos of millions of Canadians on sites like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and hundreds of other services, said Geist. He called the Trudeau Liberals the most anti-internet government in Canadian history, a group hell-bent on erecting what he called the Great Canadian Internet Firewall. The government wants to be able to block websites it determines Canadians should not see, remove content posted in Canada without any independent review, and to regulate your video posting using the CRTC.
Literally what China has in place right now.
Yep.
Hey, this bastard is going to learn from the best. So, and Pincalo says, "Isn't it amazing how this internet censorship showed up just as China and Russia are about to go to war with the world?" He says U.S., but it's going to be the world. Mm-hmm. Funny how that works, huh? Huh? His little bed buddies of China, who he's been selling bits and pieces of, or continuing to sell bits and pieces of, our rights, our freedoms, giving them our money.
Oh, and he also says, and also funny how all these doctors and medical experts feeding us this bullshit are from a certain Asian country of origin.
Yeah. Can't talk about that. But we're
not going to talk about that.
And yeah, Owen, that's what I said at the top of the story, is that's the exact same thing as the book burnings, the censorships, if you were found with specific religious texts from a certain how should I put this, BP? But the chosen people,
a certain Hebraic religion.
Yeah, exactly. If you were found with those, not only would they destroy that media, they would also lock you up for possessing said media. And let's face it, that's one step away from what's happening here.
Yeah, it's
disgusting,
fucking terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I remember sitting in a luncheon in Ottawa years ago on World Press Freedom Day and listening to BC's Beijing correspondent, Beijing's bureau chief Patrick Brown, tell the audience what it was like in China with internet censorship. He told the story of a young woman killed by a local Communist Party official who was driving recklessly. As the locals started to share stories online about what happened, the government stepped in to censor those stories. People began to post in ways that didn't include the party official's name. So the censorship continued until searching for, and in quotes, BMW, the make of the car the official was driving, was blocked. Jesus Christ. That's insane. This bill won't put Canada in the same position as China, but it does put us on the same path and give the government all the tools they need for total internet control. Not wrong. Not wrong at all. This is...
And people re-elected this asshole. Not just elected him because, hey, I'll admit, I voted for him the first time around because I thought the alternative would have been worse.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I was wrong, potentially. But the second time around, oh, God. Oh, dear.
Oh, this is... And the fucked up thing is that a lot of Canadians, most Canadians won't want this, but they don't because of the lack of education about our actual rights. People won't understand how to combat it.
And the lack of coverage, because I haven't seen this covered by many, especially in, oh, guess who? The CBC. But we have here from the Toronto Sun, which, if people in chat aren't really familiar, is kind of colloquially looked at as sort of less than legitimate media, which is wrong. They do have legitimate media. They do tend to be right-leaning and somewhat hyperbolic. That's why they have this history of being somewhat of a joke.
Yeah.
But they're not. But that's how they're painted, because they're the opposition to the narrative, to the big money interests in Canada.
Toronto Star, CBC.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I have to reiterate, Toronto Star, CBC. These are people who are getting big bucks from Trudeau's government.
Yeah.
What was the increase in funding? An extra 120 million over the last funding
Something like that.
budget or something per annum.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm
Hey,
sorry
Jenna.
for the alarms.
Jenna's in chat. Hello, Jenna.
Jenna, good morning. Oh,
That
I'm
sounds
just going to
like
mute myself with the fucking...
That sounds like an ambulance or a police car. I can never tell the siren.
It's an ambulance because we literally live down the street from both a fire hall and an ambulance dispatch.
Oh.
And because of the major construction that's going along one of the major thoroughfares near where we live, we're in sort of, off the beaten track, but there's a nice long stretch of road that people use as an alternate.
Ah.
So these emergency vehicles obviously have to use it when the big thoroughfares are down to tiny one lane directions because of construction. That, just to go on a little bit of a mini rant, has been these government contracts, while we're on the topic of government funding, are now already 2 years over their projected. But recently, 4 months ago, or 6 months ago, because of COOF, are now adding an extra 3 years onto the project and an added $120 million. Government waste, people.
Well, and don't forget, Ford was like, non-essential construction is shut down. And who determines what is non-essential construction?
Everything is essential to people who rely on it. We are no longer an agrarian society where we have to work from sun up till sundown just to survive.
Yeah.
We are now a capitalist trading society in which you need to work a job to provide for yourself, because people are specializing.
Yeah.
People who specialize in farming now specialize in producing mass quantities of food so that you can work your cushy little office job and don't have to do back-breaking work from sun up till sundown.
Exactly. And like, this is probably
Thanks,
one of the things that has taken what's it called? This is probably one of the things that has been the cause of my grandmother's house being so long to get fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was some damage done to it, some fire damage. And they did have to basically redo the whole upstairs. But it'll be a year that they've been out of their house.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And she's, I would, knocking on wood, but I'm sure she's one of those people who we've been hearing about who are at the highest risk of COVID.
Yeah,
and they can't be in their home?
Yeah, her and my grandfather are both in their 70s. My grandfather just, he'll be 80 next year.
Wow, congratulations.
So, they're elderly, and they've had to share a home with my uncle and his wife and their son.
Who I'm sure are trying to work and provide and go shopping and
So, I mean, it's not been we didn't get to see them for Christmas. So that was kind of crappy.
Mm-hmm.
They did come down, they drove over and gave little Easter baskets for the kids, which was really
cute.
cool. But yeah, it's been like this whole a shutting down of quote non-essential. Like, I who the hell decides what's not essential? Like, there are parts of stores that are shut down. There are parts of inventory that you can't even scan.
Yeah, but Rob Ford's, Doug,
No, you were right
Doug,
the first
Doug,
time.
Doug. Yeah, but Doug Ford's label business, that's essential because
Oh
people
yeah,
need peel and stick labels.
yeah, totally, totally.
But continue with the story because it really touches on what some of our American friends might not realize. Yes, we don't have a constitution, but we still have a Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Yeah. So it says, as much as we want to think it wouldn't be the cat video our grandmother would post or maybe a friend would post, it is in fact those things that could be regulated should the CRTC wish to intrude, said conservative MP, what was her name?
Rachel Harder.
Rachel
Harder.
Hart, yeah.
Harder,
Told,
harder.
Harder, yeah.
Sorry.
Told me when her party will oppose the bill but the NDP has said it is open to supporting it. Of
Shocking!
course the NDP is open to
The
fucking
Communist Party of Canada is pro-censorship? You don't
If that
say.
happens, Harder predicts a constitutional challenge. Good.
Yep.
Section 2B protects us and our ability to speak freely, Harder said, and that's true. Okay, and this is the thing that Americans do, and I love my American friends and subscribers, but this is you guys.
You don't have freedom of speech.
You guys, with this semantic argument, you say you don't have freedom of speech, you have freedom of expression. It's the same thing.
Yeah, basically.
Expression is another word for speech.
It's actually a little bit more encompassing with expression because it covers things like not only literal speech, like how we're talking now, but say I wanted to create a piece of work, like a video, or a piece of music, or a piece of artwork, because these things, the arts have traditionally challenged things like authoritarian power through expression. And it literally says in the next paragraph, Section 2B of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms states that everyone has freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media communication.
Yeah.
So, again, expression is all-encompassing.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is something that a lot of people in Canada may not really be too well informed on, but who aren't really turning their skeptical mind towards and saying, whoa, hold up a minute. Sort of like what Jordan Peterson did when he rose to fame in challenging Bill C-16.
Yeah.
Compelled speech.
Yeah.
That's antithetical to your freedom of expression. That's now saying you have to say these things. Excuse me?
Yeah, like what my sister did. You have to use they, them, or I won't talk to you, and I don't care if I lose touch with my nephews. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that's not...
That's compelled speech. That's emotional blackmail.
But to be fair, that is on a personal level. That is her choice. That is her freedom of expression.
It is her freedom of expression.
Even though she's wrong, that's her freedom to do such. Freedom. But we're talking the government here, and the government does not have the right to tell you what to say or tell you what you can't say.
No, they don't.
I'm a free speech absolutist. I will die on that hill.
Oh yeah, like people have, like when I get stupid nasty comments on TikTok videos, I get told by my followers, oh, you can filter comments or what. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not
Yeah,
filtering
BP is a big
comments.
girl. She's not someone with who's going to get her fifis hurt all the time because somebody said something rude on the internet.
If I
Because
find it if I find it rude enough, I'll make a video laughing at it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Otherwise, I'll just ignore it.
Because I excuse me.
Don't die. No dying. That's not allowed.
Oh man, that went down the wrong way.
I
Yeah, I
hate
mean,
that.
if it, I'm sure that if it was egregious enough, you might deem and block that commentary. Like if they were just be like, "Oh well, you're a Nazi fucker," blah blah blah, and using all these expletives, you might want to just,
I think
you know,
somebody said something about my kids and I blocked them.
yeah, there is going too far. But
But
again,
I
that is
didn't
your
block the
platform.
comment, right? Like the
Yeah.
comment stayed up, but I didn't, like, I blocked the person.
And again, that's something very different because that's your platform in which you are presenting information.
Yeah.
And that's your right to. It's not the government going in and saying, "Oh, well, no, this person said a no word, or this person, said something that might hurt somebody's feelings," and you're just sitting there going, "Wait, no, I'm a better person than this. I'm not going to get my fifis hurt because they said blind, like
Yeah.
it's like who cares? Fuck off." You don't get to tell people what to say or what they cannot say.
No. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a huge, dangerous, slippery slope that the government is attempting to embark on.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I've come to expect from the modern day Liberal Party of Canada. And it wasn't too long ago that the Harper government was trying to do similar things, not to the internet, but to other outlets of trying to control the information. So we're not saying it's just one party, although these parties, the Liberals and the NDP, the former Communist Party of Canada, are trying to take this to the nth degree now. So there is a degree of it being worse, but you have to rise up against political figures who would use these types of measures to control the populace.
Yeah.
This is the type of shit where when people say freedom ain't free and you have to constantly be fighting for freedom, this is the kind of shit we're talking about.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's not how you want to be living.
Wikipedia, don't get us started on Jagmeet Singh.
Ugh.
Oh my god. I'm just gonna say he's the reason why he's in Canada and not back in India is because he supported terrorists, like honest to god, die in the wolves, violent, murderous terrorists.
Yeah.
But now he's the leader of one of the third largest political party in Canada. I wonder why. Maybe because Castro's bastard son is the leader of the government in Canada. But we digress.
Well, what did he say about that settlement with Omar Khadr? That it was like a win or something for...
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty disgusting.
And if anybody doesn't remember, Omar Khadr was the guy who was arrested by Americans in the Middle East
and held in Gitmo.
And held in Gitmo for throwing a grenade at military personnel.
And killing, what, like 5 or 6 people, something like that?
I think he killed 3 and grievously wounded another like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Like he threw a grenade at a platoon of American soldiers and did some damage. This isn't like, you got to remember, it's not a quote unquote war zone because there's no war being declared. This was more of an occupying force, but they were more trying to be peacekeepers and quash terrorism and authoritarians. Which, you want to get into the legitimacy of that. That's a completely separate topic. The point is, he was a 16 or 15-year-old kid who threw a grenade at soldiers and blew some of them up.
Yeah.
He is a criminal, deserved to be treated as such. But no, as soon as he stepped off the plane in Canada, Justin Trudeau was on his knees, ready to suck this kid off and gave him a multi-million-dollar settlement.
Yeah.
Because reasons. Because my virtue, look how virtuous I am. I'm giving money to terrorists. Ugh.
And if you said that, and if you ever said that, then you're a racist and a child hater.
Oh God, right?
So this teacher, ex-teacher who filmed students with spy pen, Ontario school named in 200 or Ontario school board named in $200,000 settlement.
That's it. Jesus Christ.
Right? I would have been, yeah.
I would be going after this teacher's job, their pensions, like everything. I
Everything.
would destroy this person for being such a pervy scumbuck.
So, a former London, Ontario high school student has filed a $200,000 civil suit against her ex teacher and the Thames Valley District School Board, alleging he caused her psychological and emotional harm after he secretly filmed her chest at school without her knowledge or consent.
Jesus, lock him up.
Madison Woodburn was one of the 27 teenagers who were filmed by Ryan Jarvis while he taught English at H.B. Beale Secondary School between 2010 and 2011. She was 14 and in grade 9 when he used a camera hidden inside a pen to film parts of her body.
Oh
The,
my
the videos focused on the plaintiff's upper body, including but not limited to her breasts, says the statement of claim filed Tuesday in a London court. The plaintiff had no knowledge she was being videoed nor did she consent to the recording being taken. The lawsuit has yet to be tested in court. Oh, wow. So this says unusual interest in female students. The civil suit is the latest chapter in a precedent-setting legal case that saw Jarvis, whose teaching certification was revoked, become the first person in Canada to serve jail time on a voyeurism conviction. Really? There's been no jail time served for voyeurism convictions? That's kind of
Which
sick.
is disgusting when you consider this isn't just private citizens. This is a teacher. This is somebody in a position of power.
Power, yeah.
This is no different than I see age of consent laws in Canada, because you cannot consent to somebody who has a position of authority or power over your person.
Yeah.
So yes, two 16-year-old kids can consent to have sex. A 16-year-old kid who, for all intents and purposes, can consent to sex legally in Canada cannot consent to sex with a teacher, a police officer, a physician, etc., because they have a position of power over that person. With very good reason, because that opens the door to people using sex as tools of political and what's the word I'm looking for? Power over somebody.
Coercion.
Coercion, thank you.
Yeah.
So you can...
Pincalo says that under the Criminal Code of Canada, voyeurism is only a misdemeanor charge, so...
Yeah, but that's standard voyeurism. That's like me walking down the street videotaping the girlies.
This should be an abuse of power.
Yes. This person should lose all ability to be a teacher. They should lose any and all pension and whatever they've garnered through their educational practice.
Yeah.
They should lose everything from their job.
Oh, absolutely.
But of course, OPSU's going to fight. That's their that's the Teachers Federation. Their union.
Ontario Teachers Federation.
OSSTF. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ontario Secondary Schools Teachers Federation, who are a bunch of douchebags. even as far as unions go in the modern age, they are a bunch of complete and utter scumfuck douchebags because they are basically controlling the federal liberals.
Yep. So this says Ryan Jarvis, shown in the 2011 H.B. Beale Secondary School yearbook, was sentenced to 6 months of jail time in 2019 for voyeurism. It
Probably
took
won't see.
Woodburn 8 years of legal battles that went all the way to the Supreme Court to get justice. Holy shit.
What a sad state of affairs. That's how well protected these people are.
Yeah. So it says now she hopes to take Jarvis to court again, along with his former employer, to hold them both to account for what she claims was a moral injury. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of unfinished business, she told CBC News in a telephone interview Wednesday. I think everyone turned a blind eye to the school board. I'm fighting for others who have been in similar situations.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that happens, like school boards and like principals and stuff do a lot of victim blaming in cases, not just sexual cases, but bullying cases.
Yep.
It's disgusting how how a student will go and ask for help, and oh, are you sure that you're not causing it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure that you didn't, like, whatever, it's it's lazy, it's disgusting, and it's, I am I'm definitely someone who calls out frivolous lawsuits, but I don't think this is a frivolous lawsuit at all.
Oh, not at all.
No.
And there's been a good point that, like, even in the glorious People's Republic of Canada, when it comes to sexual crimes, we're not very advanced on that.
No.
People, rapists get like literal heart, like, die. When you think of rapists, think of a caricature that you would see on TV or something.
Yeah.
Those are the types of people that, like what Elwin said, would probably only get 18 months of prison time.
Mm-hmm.
For a rapist, a violent rapist, get a pittance of what they should
Yep.
in the legal system. And I think that is one thing that our political betters could use to ride their way into a better light on the public stage, is start going after that. Not going after speech, but going after actual die-in-the-woods criminals, violent criminals. But of course, no, we'd rather just give them money.
Mm.
Disgusting.
Pincalo says, wait, that's not somebody did a deal. I know someone who got royally screwed for false accusations for touching a girlfriend. Oh, yeah.
For 12 years, yeah.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
true. It's weird. They slap actual offenders on the wrist and throw the book at falsely accused people.
mm-hmm.
It's
I've been
weird.
falsely accused, and luckily, at the time I knew enough about the law to basically say to this girl, "You do that, I'm taking everything, because this is you're full of shit. This was purely consensual." And I caught her on I had a little micro tape recorder. This is before the digital age.
Yeah.
Caught her on a tape recorder saying, "Yeah, I know, but I'm still gonna," and I said, "Gotcha, bitch." And she went,
And Ontario's a one-party consent province, so
yeah, for most intents and purposes,
for recording, it's a one-party consent province.
Except if you're on communications devices, like over
it?
the phone through corporations, they need to get your consent to record the conversation.
Yeah,
but if you're in person, you don't need consent. If you're in public, you don't need consent.
No.
So yeah, I mean, and this was in my own home at the time, so
yeah,
no consent was needed.
Nope.
But yeah, it's disgusting how some of our laws like uplift criminals basically and punish the innocent.
Yeah. It's very, very strange that like you said, like violent rapists can skate by, and then somebody can get in an argument with an ex-girlfriend, and the ex-girlfriend can produce enough crocodile tears
Mm-hmm.
to get them had to have the book thrown at them.
Yep.
It's fucked up.
Yep. Yep. The family courts and the courts at large aren't very favorable towards men overall. So in cases like this, where it's a he said, she said, they take the she said very seriously. They take the he said, meh.
Hmm.
Oh man, that's really unfortunate to hear, Pinkalo. It's sad because I've heard similar stories so many times here. It's
I was in the courtroom when what Pinkala was talking about our friend. The Crown fucked up so bad with the friend's case that the judge asked the friend to leave,
oh
gave
god,
Crown shit, but still the friend got fucking convicted. Like
Jesus.
the judge, I'm sitting there, and I'm mouthing at the friend's lawyer. I'm mouthing, mistrial, like, right, like move from, like, I'm sitting there. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm trying to get the friend's lawyer's attention to go, mistrial. You Jesus
Hey,
Christ.
Mr. Scott, and yes, Wikipedia. The Crown is the
Prosecutor.
people. So yes, they are representative of the prosecution of the government in supposedly enforcing the laws.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cute. Pinkala wrote something, and his autocorrect turned it into wine press. So
Aww.
for the rest of the stream, I'm just going to refer to you as wine press.
Wine.
Go get a glass of wine.
So yeah, this is so it says, in doing what he did, the lawsuit claims Jarvis abused his power and betrayed Woodburn's trust as an authority figure, and the board, the lawsuit alleges, failed to protect her, as they did.
Mm-hmm.
They did, absolutely. It claims teachers, staff, parents, students, and others all had concerns about Jarvis's behaviors when it came to young female students. Jarvis had an unusual interest in them, staying too close to them and spending too much time alone with them, the court filing said. He also has difficulties with his sexuality and faced allegations of improper conduct in his previous posting. It's why the lawsuit claims the board knew that he was intended to express these deviant behaviors.
And this is what gets me about this is what gets me about the fucking unions.
Yep.
They protect these sexual predators
Yep.
and will not face any sort of criminal repercussions or threats to their jobs.
Nope.
Because they will just pick them up and move them to a new town and get a new fucking fishbowl of potential victims that they can just, as the article shows us, will just continue to fucking offend.
It's just like it's like the same as the Catholic Church. Find the priest, find the pedophile. Find the priest, hide the pedophile. It's like find the teacher, hide the pedophile. You know, it's
I can feel
disgusting.
the veins on the side of my head bulging and pulsating because I'm fucking furious right now.
Yeah. I think she should be asking for way more, honestly.
Yeah, and she should, you know what? She might, because she might follow up and attempt to, because of that previous movements by the OSSTF, the union. She might be able, if she wins this, she might be able to, or they might be able to then go after the teachers' unions and anybody else who was involved in that. And I hope so too, because that is just egregious. You do not take somebody who has allegations and such first of all, you brush those aside so there's no actual legal proceedings in the allegations of misconduct, but then you pick them up and put them somewhere else where they can just reoffend. That because my opinions, there should only be one protected class in all of modern Western society. That is children.
Yep.
People who cannot and should not have to deal with these kinds of things. Obviously, nobody should, but I'm not stupid enough to think we live in a utopia. Who should be a protected class, and they're being failed by the systems we have that were initially put in place to protect children. Because yes, they might be 16, they might be a young teenager, and might be a little bit more advanced than just a child, but they are still children.
Yep. Their brains are still growing. They're still manipulatable. They're still, suggestible. They need protecting, It's not it's not like, and especially if you have an authority position,
especially if you're in a position of authority.
Yeah, like even if you're teaching a class of technically legal, like, because the legal age in Ontario at least is 16. But even if you are teaching grade 12, you're in a position of authority. Keep your pants on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you're still a teacher. And I have the same kind of feeling about university professors. You're still in a position of authority. You need to not be fucking your students.
Yeah. Now, if once that student leaves the institution, or the teacher leaves for the institution for whatever reason, have at it. Yeah. Have at it, Hoss, because you are legal consenting adults. But that person is literally in a position to dictate the rest of that person's life, potentially.
Yep.
Like, they control the grades. They can
exactly.
You as a parent give your children to these people for hundreds of hours each year, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yep.
These people need to be held to the highest standard available, because you are being told by the people who are in charge of us that these people have been vetted and are now responsible for taking care of these kids.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so angry. And this is why people like Jenna think I'm so great with kids, because I will not stand for this shit.
Well, no, there's no reason. Like, I'm like, I don't even, like, I keep going back and forth, honestly, about do I agree with the curriculum that's being taught enough, or do I want to actually homeschool my kids? Because I don't. The more I listen into remote learning, and the more I listen into, what's supposed to, like, language activities, they don't do much learning about language. They do writing activities, but they don't sit there and do lessons on grammar. They don't do basic language stuff.
Teaching what to think as opposed to how to think.
Yeah.
And that's been one of the big failures of our current education system. That's been happening since the late 90s.
Yeah. That's true.
The system has become so festering with rot and contagion.
Yeah.
It's now failing kids. Because look at our high school literacy rates. We used to be one of the best in the world for education. Now we're in the teens, maybe 20s overall in the world.
Yeah, we've dropped significantly
in such a short period of time. And I may not have kids right this second, but you as a parent, Pencalo as a parent, I can't begin to imagine your fury and your rage at the system failing your children. Because again, we are told that these are the institutions we can trust.
Yep.
And we can't trust them anymore.
No, we ordered a bunch of materials that from Amazon so that we can do like basic bolstering
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
because we don't want them to because they also don't hold kids back anymore.
mm-hmm.
So we don't want them to A, we don't want them to have to be held back, and B, we don't want them to go on to the next grade and the next grade and the next grade without having that base.
Yeah, yeah. Reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's sort of like, yeah, well, we don't really need those anymore. Are you fucking kidding me? Those are the fundamentals of education. And we have people being, like you just said, passed in grades where those are still somewhat of a focus, but they fail completely. But they get tracked onto the next year because reasons, so that their fees aren't hurt. You know what? Half the population is stupid, and
Yeah.
half of those people are dumber than that.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the types of people that the education system is failing the worst.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the spirits of public education, is to uplift even the lowest of us, to give them a better shot in life, to do better than previous generations. And
Well,
I get so worked
apparently,
up about this shit.
apparently, the Human Rights Commission of Ontario is holding a conference with parents of children with learning disabilities
Mm-hmm.
because they're holding an inquiry into the public school system and how they are basically failing children with learning disabilities in literacy,
Mm-hmm.
especially right now in remote learning.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a big deal. Obviously, as I was just saying, there are going to be people who are going to fail,
Yeah.
but the sheer number of people who are failing right now, unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
That is well above the average. Yes, some people just cannot be taught. Some people just cannot grasp such concepts
Yeah.
of more modern literacy and arithmetic. And that's fine. Not everybody is average or above average intellect, and there are quite a few people who are just below average, and that's okay. You do your best, but the sheer number of them that are just pushed through the system, unacceptable.
Or the sheer the fact that a teacher just can't be bothered to put in an extra couple of minutes.
Especially when you're in a special ed class
Yeah.
where they are in classrooms of, the average classroom 30 to 40 kids, and these special education teachers have maybe 6 to a dozen kids,
Yeah.
because they need more one-on-one time, they
Yeah.
need more specialized attention, but they're being failed.
Yeah.
Not on grades, but they're being failed by the teachers.
Yeah.
Like you said, they're
They're
they're just like, yeah, well, whatever. It's not my concern. Well, yes, it is your concern. That's why you get paid $80,000 a year for
Exactly.
9 months of work.
exactly.
And then they complain, oh well, we don't get paid enough. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
The average second high school teacher, average, makes between $60,000 to $80,000 a year.
Yep. And they
For-
get paid vacation and sick days
and like 3.5, 4 months off of work every year,
Yeah.
where they can do whatever they want. They can travel, they can work more.
Yep.
They can be a summer school teacher and make another 20, 30 grand on top of their already. It's like I said, it's become festered and infected with rot. And if we don't, as a society, act soon, it will be so far gone, we won't be able to fix it.
Well, there's a lot more a lot more parents pulling their kids out and homeschooling them now.
Because they've realized in firsthand experience and seeing the curriculum and how these teachers are doing their jobs, they've lost confidence. They've lost all confidence.
Yeah. Like yesterday, the kids were supposed to, or sorry, Tuesday, the kids were doing community workers, and they were supposed to write a list of community jobs like firefighter, police officer, whatever. And the teacher would not help them spell firefighter. She was like, no, sound it out. And this is the first time all year the teacher has mentioned sounding anything out. And she wanted them to sound out a word that had a silent GH in it. And I'm like, what?
And that's where you're gonna start this. Are you fucking dumb?
Like, what? Like, okay, like, if I was her, I would have been like, okay, give me fire. Spell fire for me, and I'll help you with fighter.
Things that are basically spelled phonetically, how
Yeah.
they sound, how you,
Yeah.
and then you can build on that and be like, okay, now we're gonna learn about silent letters, or letters like GH,
Yeah.
which commonly have a certain sound throughout. There's a word right there, through.
Yeah.
That are commonly found within our language, that you then teach them the notion of where they might come up, and then as you're teaching them, okay, let's spell change, let's spell press, okay, let's spell thought,
Yeah.
okay, let's take them through the process, and THOT, no, sorry, little Billy. There, and then you announce to the class, yes, there is going to be a silent letter in there. Mm-hmm. And one of the funny little spellings that we just learned about. So who's got an idea where that might be? That's how you teach that kind of stuff. You don't just spring it on them and be like, nope, that's wrong, next. Nope,
like
that's wrong.
This morning we were supposed to write about what we do on rainy days.
Mm-hmm.
So we were writing, I build creations with Mega Blocks on rainy days. And so I was like, okay, build is a tricky word. There's a U in there that makes no sound. Because I wasn't going to be like, no, guess.
Yeah.
Right? Because
phonetically you hear it might be BILD.
Yeah.
But you got to teach them that in grammar there's it's not ild, it's build. There's that upward inflection after the B, the build, which is denoted by the U. And again, that's the style of teaching them how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
Because I can just teach your kid, oh well, it's BUILD.
Yeah.
And then they'll be thinking, they might not say it because they're children. They might not say it right away, but they'll be like, well, why? Why is there a U there? And if they never learn that, it just puts a barrier to future education where they might have to learn things, again, like thought. Why is there an OUGHT for something that can be spelled THOT?
Yeah.
Well, because that's part of grammar. That's part of the English language. And it denotes where the emphasis on the syllables might be, because it's spelt differently. And that's why I'm a firm believer of our style of English, where there is a OU in neighbor, because it's not just neighbor, it's not burr, it's neighbor.
Yeah.
It's my, sorry guys, that's my own accent, not being able to neighbor. There's sort of like that pop in the O, the technically.
Yeah.
Wikipedia snippet. The most common sound in English is the schwa, which can be very vowel. And living where we live, BP, we all know about the schwa.
The schwa.
The dirty schwa.
The dirty schwa.
I used to live there. It's a joke.
It is a joke.
Wow, we're at almost 110.
Yeah,
Time flies when we're getting enraged about Canada.
Right?
Supposed to be a bastion for the world of freedom and expression and good ideas, and yet we've been driven into the ground.
Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you want some more, I will be probably back in about an hour, because I'm going to mop the floor and do the dishes. And then I'm going to jump on the console and play some Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat!
Yes!
Okay, quick nerd aside before we sign off. Did you get a chance to did you and Pinkala get a chance to watch the new Mortal Kombat?
Not yet.
Okay, it was good. It was a fun ride. If you're a fan of the action movies, kung fu movies, or even Mortal Kombat, I would suggest checking it out. It's not going to be that highfalutin, oh my god, this was the best movie ever.
No.
But a fun ride.
Yeah, we're gonna wait a little bit because right now they want everywhere we go they want $30 to fucking rent the thing.
Oh, fuck that noise.
So we're just gonna wait till it's like out,
I'll hook
and
you up.
then we'll get. Oh, okay, that works.
I'll hook you up.
So yeah, I'm gonna be playing some Mortal Kombat because I signed myself up for a tournament.
Nice. What kind of
And
tournament?
So it's it's a PS4 open qualifier. So it's just like an open series tournament for like all skill levels, really. So who knows? It'll be on Monday. It's on Monday, May 3rd. So this Monday at 7 p.m. And so I'm gonna stream it.
Nice.
And so I will probably make it like around.
Don't sell yourself short because
But-
I've seen you kick some serious ass in that game.
We'll see. We'll see. Who knows? We'll see how far I get. I don't know.
You're probably, knowing the state of things in technology today, you'll probably lose to like some 6-year-old kid who's just like this Mortal Kombat prodigy.
Right?
And just as an aside, oh my god, BP, are you doing Coffee Stream tomorrow?
Yes.
On Friday?
Yes.
Well, that will be episode 400,
It
and
will.
congratulations,
And I'll
400
probably do a
episodes. That's
call-in
incredible.
show for that. I'll probably do a call-in show for 400.
Cool. I'll pop in to say hello and
Sweet.
give a proper congratulations and
All right.
smoke a joint in your honor.
Sounds fun.
Because 400 is a pretty big milestone, dude.
It is.
That's 100. That's only 100 away from 500, and then only 500 more to 1,000. Woo!
Yes. Oh, all right.
The hate tornado is going strong.
Don't get your hopes up, functional LOL. I've seen what happens when she goes against Asians in Soul Calibur. Shut up, Pinkalo.
Hey. Hey, those are hate facts, Pinkalo.
So I the very first time I ever played online was Soul Calibur 4, I think. And I got online and it was Battle 1, Fight, perfect!
Oh, jeez. You know what, though, BP? He's probably jealous because you probably kick his ass in Mortal Kombat.
I do.
I told you.
Unless he gets out Johnny Cage and gets me in the corner, then it's a kind of an ad. But
Toasty!
pretty much, yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna go wash up my dishes and clean up my floor, and I'll be back to do Beat the Blind Girl. So, 2 streams for the price of 1 today.
Nice.
All right, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for 400, and it'll be a call-in show. So, if that's interesting to you, get your mics ready.
Thanks for having me again.
All right, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.
Bye. Blame Canada.